Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Alchemy Trades. This is Host Logic. A couple people have asked me to expand on some technical analysis tools, tricks, what do we like to use, what works for us. So we're getting into that a little bit. Somebody have asked me, where did I learn how to do the technical analysis? Where did I study it from? And honestly, well, I was in an options trading group for about 6 to 8 months, trading weekly options, and they were kind of complex options, so it was kind of very intensive. But we did do a lot of technical analysis to get an idea where things were going to go to, and then we use a lot of those options tools to kind of expand upon that. But honestly, it takes practice. It takes repetitive doing it over and over and over again. Throw $50 or $100 into a bot and just treat it like crazy. Don't worry about making $30, $40, or $100 a day profits. Just worry about making 1 or 2% and get really good at that. Get consistent, because honestly, where traders fail at is they don't have the consistency. You guys can see the trades that I post. That's why I like posting them literally every day if I can, if I'm able to trade that day. I post my trades whether it's a 1% win or a 4% win, because it's consistency. If you can get a trader that can produce consistent 1, 2, 3, 5% a day results, you're a good trader then. If you could get 1% a day, you're a good trader then. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be 20% win. Doesn't have to be a 10% win. Just if you can get consistently good and profitable, that's the key. And it takes experience, repetitive, doing over and over again. Get a chart, go on TradingView, mark it up, and then put an arrow saying, here's where I think price is going to go to. Create your areas of value, your support and resistance, or ceiling as floor, your channels. Just kind of identify those patterns, those channels, those areas of value, and go out a couple of days or go out, a couple of hours and see if price did what you thought it was going to do. So whatever works, whatever it takes, just, practice, practice, practice. I know that sounds so generic and such a BS answer, but honestly, that's where it's at. I mean, just so many times, when you first start out, you get into that trade, it goes completely the other way. You have no idea why. It seems like the market, again, does everything that you do, does the opposite. Everything that you think it's going to do, it does the opposite. And that's just because you don't know that pair. A lot of people get into those, 6, 7, 8 pairs, or trading all over the place, or getting into that Excel spreadsheet that we have, and they're jumping at anything. Well, you're not going to get consistent into something you don't trade often. So I like to keep, that 1, 2, maybe 3 pairs at the most. You see, Nitro. I get into Pancake Swap, Cake BUSD quite a bit. I like to try to keep a couple of good popular tokens that are doing really well, and you'll see that I'm constantly posting those pairs because you start to learn them. You know how the most craziest that pair is going to do, one way or the other. How does it correlate with the crypto market? Bitcoin goes up 0.5%. What's that pair going to do? If Ethereum goes down, 75%, what is that going to do? So it kind of, you're going to learn that ebb and flow of the pair. I know it sounds weird, but that's honestly what it is. So we're going to go into Cake BUSD, and we're going to learn the Fibonacci tool. It's right over here. If it doesn't look like this, just click on the arrow, hit Fib retracement. What you're going to want to do is go from your recent swing low to swing high. You don't have to click here. You can just keep that top, that 0 level, and expand it out a little bit. And then we're going to zoom in. So from this low to here, that's 100%. And then as it pulls back to this 50% level right here. And think of this as a weighted measurement as well. Good example, okay, came up here and then it pulled down and it just hit this 23% mark. So, okay, that's not really heavily weighted. It did bounce off of it, but because it bounced off the 23% mark, or the 236, it just didn't make it, and it failed. And then it failed again. Again, it kind of came off this next level, and you see these areas as we zoom in, it respects it. It'll come down to this next level, bounce off of the 382, but again, it's only 38%. Tried its very best, but then eventually it failed, and it came down to the next level. And it respected that 50%, so the heavier it falls down, the more of the weight that's going to hold. And if it gets down to that, and you have a couple confluences, again, we're going to look at it hit this 50% mark. We can throw a line over here, And see, before, it's previously acted as resistance. Like, let's say we've had this line up here for a little bit, and it broke through it. So then, again, when something breaks through it, it usually respects it as its next floor after that. And it's also the 50% mark. We're looking at our MACD. You know, this is my favorite indicator because it's really great at catching reversals. It went from the dark red to the light red to the green, and it just took off and just went crazy. It eventually broke the 100% level again and continued up over there. And it's these areas of value. You see even right here, it kind of came up here, traded really hard, didn't quite break that 100% because, you know, it started here, came up, fell back down, picked back up again, didn't quite break the 100%, but it respected the 23% level quite a bit, time and time again. So it's this area that it likes to trade in. And then, you know, if it likes this area and it tries to break back through again, just doesn't quite have enough to push it. MACD's been green for, 8-9 candles. It's went from dark green to light green. Good time to probably get out of that trade. And even if you only got in here because you knew, again, it likes these areas right here, but we know it's probably not going to bust out of this next area because we've been in, this is an hour chart, and you've had this FIB tool up for just days and days and days now, and you'll see that it respects these zones so much. And then when it breaks through it, it's a good chance if it breaks through, that next zone up is now going to be the floor. What once was the ceiling is now the floor. Good chance of that, so it's going to respect that level. But then the longer this MACD's in here, the longer it gets exhausted. Say it's been red here for time and time again, but you could have caught a whole bunch of little trades here. Went from dark red to light red, popped back up a little bit, came back down. Went from dark red to light red a little bit, popped up. And we know it just didn't quite break through this next level, so it's going to fall back down. Didn't quite fall all the way back down to the 23% again, and it just traded in this zone a little bit. Got really, really exhausted right here, pulled back, came right back up again. Again, went from this dark red to the light red to the green, took off like crazy. It just tore out with some really good volume. Of course, volume is absolutely key. The more volume you have, again, the stronger that next movement's going to be. You can see here we've had such a low volume in this area that you can't expect any major movements to happen, And then we had some really good, strong buy volume coming in. So yeah, it pushed up and it just did really good for a couple days here. And then again, we knew it just wasn't going to break through this because this was this last area of resistance right here. So chances are it's not going to break through it. If it does, then it's going to take off. Like again here, it tried it now once, failed it. Tried it again, didn't quite make it, failed it. Tried it again, didn't quite make it, failed, pulled back down. This time it broke through it. Good confluence, good volume, and it blew right through. So these are some tips to learn of these areas of value. Of the MACD, how long has it been in this, Is the RSI crazy, crazy high? As you see when it pulled here, it popped up right here over this 70% level, and it just failed it and came back down again. But we know RSI didn't flush down to the floor, so we know it's probably, not going to work here. So you use some of these tools here, especially on these strong movements up when it pulled back to the 50% level. RSI pulled back really, really hard during this level as well too. And then everything kind of came together. But then, you could use this just for days and days to trade in, to know why, understand why this does this. You understand, how much volume it takes to really get the next major movement up and what it's going to do. And something like pancake swap, this pancake, it doesn't really make major movements. It's not going to push up crazy hard, but it's also not going to flush down crazy hard neither. It's a really good trade and pair to get into to just get that 1-2% a day. But again, get into it the smart way. If you're trading here for a couple days, you would want to get into it up here because it's going to pull back down. It's exhausted, RSI is already kind of topped out again. So if you got into the trade here, it's going to take you a couple days to get back into it and just to break even again. Wait, be patient, find another pair to get into. Earlier today I tried getting into Nitro, just Nitro wasn't there, so I got into Rapmatic USDC. That did pretty good. I didn't do nothing crazy. I think it did 1.4% or something like that. I closed it out and had fun. It did well. I'm in Nitro right now. Nitro's not really doing crazy good, but, I'm up, 0.25% just about. But this is kind of what we use This is why we use some of the tools that we have. This really only works in a trending market because, doing this in a flat market isn't really going to do much for you. This is just when you want to have your tools, for your floor and your ceiling. It trades in this little area quite a bit. It trades in this area, so you want to get into it as close to this area as you possibly can, and then write it back up. Look at the RSI. Is it overextended? Could it pull back again? Look at the MACD. Has it kind of exhausted itself out? Has it had a few dark green candles? And has it changed to a light green? Probably going to pull back now. It's a good time to get out of it again. And then finally, eventually, it'll break through that ceiling. And then there you go. You're off to the races. And again, what is this? This ceiling turns into the floor, bounces off of it nice and hard. So there's just so many ways that eventually you'll start learning why things happen. What's going to happen with it? What's the next move that's going to happen with this particular pair? So I hope this helps a little bit. I mean, the Fibonacci tool, it is complicated. There's a lot to it. Knowing what, all these different numbers mean, why it works the way that it works, that it just gets to be a lot for a while. It takes time to learn it. So we have this recent swing low, swing high, pull back down to the 786. Again, we learn that's a very strong number. It respects it quite well. And it's going to pull back up again. Trades in these zones for days and days. It likes these zones, and you can see it trades in these zones for some time. It'll go up to the next level, and it'll stay there. And then eventually there's enough volume that comes through to break through the next level. But look at here. It respects that next level up. It's not going to leave it. I just moved it by accident. Swing low, swing high, pulls back down, busts at 786, and it just absolutely loves it. It's there. Low volume, not going to do too crazy much. It's going to respect that next level up. Hit that 786, it's going to come back up. Not really go past that 618 level at all. It kind of likes it. Eventually, enough volume comes in, it busts up through it, comes back down. Almost respects it almost perfectly back to that 618 level and then takes back off again. A little bit of volume. Maybe the crypto market did really good and it continued out of it. It just takes a while to master that. This tool works the same in reverse. If you're now in a downtrending market, don't know where we would have seen that lately, you just go from the swing high now to the very swing low, including the wick. Same thing in reverse. Came back down here. Pulled back, this is your 100%, so now it's going to pull back to the 236 level, doesn't quite respect it, it's not enough power, pulled back down a little bit, tried to break through it, came back up here again to the 382 level, and then just had some good volume, hit this 786, that's about where it capped out at, because that's really tall, that's almost going back 100%, and then pull back down again. So in a downtrending market, again, this is a sideways market, but again, with the FIB, these tools are really good to know. It respects these zones. You can see almost respectively, it respects these zones quite often. So that's how you're going to kind of get an idea where things might go to, why they might go there. Add some volume, add the MACD, look for the crossovers, dark red to light red, bam, takes off again, especially with a little bit of volume. You're good, but where are you good to? Up to that next level, up to the 618. That's a really strong level because, again, this is that downtrending market that we've had recently. So we know, okay, if it's been on a tear, but how far up of a tear it's going to go. So you can see here, it came down to the 236, came up, tried busting through the 618, couldn't do it, failed it, went back down to the 382, respected that level greatly, tried to go back through that 618 level again, just couldn't do it, pulled back again. So if you were just in here and you didn't quite know where it was going to go to, it's a good idea. If it didn't go through it before, it may not go through it again unless it has some really strong volume to kind of go your way. And again, dark green to light green, probably going to reverse. These are all these confluences to learn eventually what the trade's going to do. This pair intimately. Alright guys, I know it's a long video, it's a lot to take in. I hope this helps, and I'll see you guys in the chat room.